All right, today we are going to talk about something powerful, something invisible that might be the single biggest obstacle to your success. It's this hidden force that works in the shadows of our own minds, and you know what? We're about to drag it right out into the open.
Think about it. We're told our whole lives to be confident, to believe in ourselves, to trust our gut, and that's all great advice, right? But what if that very same confidence, that voice in your head telling you you're the best, is actually setting a trap for you?
And this quote really hits the nail on the head. It's the core idea we're digging into today, that the voice we think is our biggest cheerleader might just be whispering self-destructive advice, quietly killing our ambitions from the inside. So, let's start right there. Let's pull apart this myth about confidence. We're going to look at the huge, and I mean huge, gap between what we think our ego is doing for us and what it's actually doing to hold us back. I mean, look at this. It's such a stark contrast, isn't it? We see our ego as our ally, our co-pilot on the road to success. But the hard truth, it's often a saboteur, hiding in plain sight, pretending to be ambition. Okay, so let's look at the first place this saboteur gets to work. And here's the crazy part. It's not when we fail. The ego shows its really dangerous side in that intoxicating, amazing rush of success. And that brings us to this word, grandiosity. This is what happens when a little bit of success goes straight to your head. It's not real confidence, it's more like a reality distortion field. Your ego starts spinning stories, bending the truth to make you the hero of every single one. And this isn't just some abstract list. It's a warning. Picture a founder after their first big win. All of a sudden, they're the only genius in the room. They completely forget about the team that pulled all-nighters or the lucky break they got with the market. They start to believe they've got the Midas touch, which leads them to make these huge, reckless bets, chasing the next big headline because they're convinced they just can't fail. That, right there, is grandiosity in action. That feeling of being invincible, man, it's a powerful drug. But what happens when that invincibility turns out to be a myth? What happens when we stumble? Well, the ego doesn't just pack up and leave. Nope, it just changes its strategy. It goes from being an arrogant cheerleader to a master of excuses. Does this sound a little familiar? When things go well, it's all, yep, I did that. But the second things go wrong, it's, well, that happened to me. This is the ego's number one defense mechanism. It refuses, absolutely refuses, to take the blame. And there's actually a name for this trap, the self-serving bias. Our brain is literally wired to protect our self-image. And here's the real problem with that. By blaming everything and everyone else, our ego stops us from doing the one thing that failure is supposed to teach us: how to get better. And you know, this leads us to the third and maybe the most dangerous way the ego holds us back. Because over time, it doesn't just protect us from failure, it starts protecting us from reality itself. The ego, it builds this little bubble around us. It's a customized world where our beliefs are always true, our opinions are always facts, and we are, of course, always correct. So psychologists have a term for this too. It's called confirmation bias. Basically, our brain starts to act like a biased search engine. It only shows us the results that confirm what we already think. Anything that challenges us, it just gets ignored, dismissed, or conveniently forgotten. And what's the result of living in this bubble? We become fragile. A simple disagreement stops being a chance to learn something new, and it starts to feel like a personal attack. We stop having conversations and we start having arguments, not to find the truth, but just to protect our own fragile ego. Okay, so after seeing all the ways our ego works against us, what's the solution? How do we possibly fight back against our own brain? Well, it all comes down to building a system, a practical, active system of humility. And here's a simple blueprint for it. It's really just a two-step process. First, when you fail, and you will fail, you have to fight that self-serving bias. Don't blame the world. Instead, go to people you trust and ask for brutally honest feedback. Ask them, what did I do wrong here? And second, get really good at saying 3 simple words. I was wrong. This is just a perfect analogy, isn't it? When you hold on to that idea that you're always right, it builds up so much internal pressure. But admitting a mistake, that's the release. It's like a safety valve. It diffuses conflict, it rebuilds trust with people, and most importantly, it frees you up to actually learn something. So here's the most important takeaway. The goal is not to be the person in the room with all the answers. The goal is to be the person who is always learning. It's about making a shift from being a know-it-all to a learn-it-all. The second you trade that need to be right for the desire to learn, you unlock your own limitless potential for growth.
And that brings us to one final thought for you to take away. As you go about your week, just ask yourself this one simple question, because chances are the answer will point you directly to the person you need to talk to and the exact spot where your ego is holding you back the most.